What have you been up to in the last 30 years?
What have you been up to in the last 30 years?
30 years.
It's a huge question. I love that you just told me to try to get this into 1 minute.
Oh, what have I been up to? I've just been up. I've been in an airplane, I think, nonstop the last 30 years.
And then I worked for a bit till I figured out what I wanted to do. And then I went into nursing school, graduated from nursing in '99, and I've been working as a nurse ever since.
I actually was trying to date this girl right out of high school, and I was very relentless and actually ended up marrying her. So she wouldn't date me in high school though, because there was too many guys like Todd Lamb and all the other guys that were chasing her. But
I, like Todd, moved out of Edmonton pretty early. I ended up in Bishop's University, which quite a few people, I think, recall that in my first 2 years. I then, right after the passing of Blake's brother, Brooks, actually, he asked if I would consider coming to Evangel University in Missouri. So we ended up playing football together at a D2 school down in central Missouri, actually southern Missouri.
Didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I ended up in grade 12. I took cosmetology, kind of fell in love with it. It was called beauty culture back then, really old school. Fell in love with it, went back and upgraded, finished that up, and became a hairstylist. Did that for far too long.
Tried teaching, lasted about 5 years. Good thing I stopped. I'd probably either be in jail or in an insane asylum. And I moved out to BC, did a few things, ended up with my wife here in the Squamish area.
Got out of high school, worked at the video store for a bit, and then a friend of mine got me a job in the steel fabrication shop, so spent a long time making the enclosures for electrical components and telecommunications.
Well, I graduated from high school.
And then?
I pretty much did what I planned to do, which was, I was originally going to be in law enforcement, but that wasn't working because I was too blind, so I went into, became a private investigator. Did that for over 20 years.
I made it through high school. Some people might find that hard to believe. Probably the toughest time of my life.
Outside of school was competing in BMX stuff, and so for 2 years after that I was lucky enough to travel all over, lots of places in North America, and got to compete doing lots of stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Then I worked in the restaurant business, owned a couple restaurants in the city here. Did that for 12 years, something like that. And for the last 12 years, I have been involved in a oil field manufacturing company.
First 10 of those 30 years, I was in Edmonton, did various different things, worked in banking, then marketing for a hotel company, got married, and that's where it ended in Edmonton. And then I moved out to Vancouver, been here for almost 20 years.
we got married after about 7 or 8 years, have 4 kids, and had so much fun since then.
Out of high school, I went down to the States to college and ended up meeting my wife, Jill, down in Missouri, and convinced her to come up north here somehow. And since then, we've raised a family, got 3 kids.
I went to NATE for 1 year, took dental assisting, retired, and then basically just been a mom.
Finally made my way into public relations, communications after some failed starts, trying to be a computer systems programmer. I got kicked out of NATE for that. Didn't make it as a cop, wannabe, trying to follow my brother's footsteps, and then finally found my love and passion as a writer.
And then I got an opportunity. I went back to university at 40 and became a teacher. And now I teach cosmetology. So I went to Sal, taught at Facey, and now I'm at ABJ. So I've been to all 3 schools in Sherwood Park. So I like them all now.
For high school, worked in electronics play a bit and paid flying lessons, and then went up to the hierarchy and spent 6 years up there doing research flying and medevacs, and went to Halifax after that, and now I've been in the Maritimes for 25 years.
Do you have kids?
I do. I've got one 9-year-old boy who is just awesome.
Do you have kids?
1. She's 11.
Got 2 kids, 13-year-old and a 15-year-old.
I have 3 stepkids and 1 of my own, and I have 7 grandkids.
21, 20, 17, and 16.
Yeah, we have one little boy. Well, he's not so little now. He's 15.
Oldest is Brooks, and he's 20, just turned 20. Caleb will be 19 in March, and then Anna's 15, going on like 30.
My oldest is 15 in grade 10 at Facey.
My son Ronan, daughter Sonia, 13 and 11.
Oldest Joshua is 19, university here. 17-year-old daughter graduating from Beaumont High School. And then we have our youngest is 11.
And then my younger daughter Paige, she's in grade 9, 13 going on 20.
Two beautiful stepkids and a grandson now.
My grandbabies are, my two youngest ones are 3 and 2, so they're a lot of fun.
Where do you live?
Sherwood Park in Glen Ellen.
I think I consider myself one of the smart Canadians. Every time I turn around, I'm usually moving farther south.
So we live in Banff National Park.
Where do you live?
Sherwood Park, Nottingham.
So technically, I'm in Orlando, Florida.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I had no idea. None.
Exactly what I'm doing right now.
I wanted to get into law enforcement. And before that, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler.
Coming out of high school, I really didn't know, and it was a big challenge. I don't know if anybody else felt that.
Honestly, I just wanted to be a mom. I was happy being a mom, taking care of my kids.
You know, I want to be a pilot.
I literally rode my bike every day of my life, and I got to do some pretty cool stuff for that time period, and I honestly felt that would be a profession.
We wanted to be a pilot. My father was in aviation.
I actually wanted to be a podiatrist based around those placement exams in grade 9.
Thought about policing, I thought about legal secretary, I thought about interior decorator, thought about broadcasting.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a secretary. I wanted to be in charge of that whole system with the phones and pushing buttons and hooking you up to whoever you wanted to talk to.
So I wanted to be a nurse, and I also wanted to be a bus driver when I was really little, but the nurse thing panned out.
Actually, I thought of teaching, thought of doing some sales, wanted to play football.
I wasn't sure then what I want to do, and I still actually don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a secretary.
I am the operations manager for a place called the Britannia Mine Museum. It's a tourist-type museum on the way to Whistler from Vancouver.
I teach at McEwen now, teaching nursing.
Ended up being an electrical contractor.
Found a passion for writing, corporate communications, writing.
Real estate. So sell real estate and own a real estate office.
Well, I have a architectural firm down in Turks and Caicos, so we design and build homes.
Actually, I'm a training captain with Air Canada. So I fly the 767, and my routes take me all through Europe, as far away as Athens, and in the winter time, I'm down through South America.
So I'm a sales guy, glorified.
Changed my vocation completely into something unexpected. I now get paid to paint models and play games for a living.
I am a business development manager for a company that manufactures oil field equipment.
We're pretty much empty nesters, and I yoga every morning, paddleboarding, skiing, golfing.
It's rough.
Who do you still talk to from high school?
Vanessa Gordy, now Trask, she's the main one, and David Bonney.
Who do I still talk to from high school?
Well, we talked to Blake.
Sean Brzezicki, Sean Barr, Dave Quirk, Phil Burkby.
Sean Herford, Carmen Sheridan, Brent. I have a sense of where you've been going, where you've been playing hockey, where you've been visiting. Shannon Nelson, I ran into her in the airport a couple years ago. That was awesome.
Run into Cam because, kids sports and stuff at Sal.
But I still talk to Brzezicki, Jeff Kufelt. I had a great visit with him and Annette when they were out here summer or so ago. And Ramona Mirage.
Alan Yim and Todd Hebert.
What's crazy, actually, Vaughn Paisley, he actually lived in Turks and Caicos too, which is really crazy. Like, odd guy I went to school with, totally random, lives in the same country.
He is an odd guy.
Yeah, he is.
So Dallas Nash, Fraser, Marty Gunderson.
Brendan Piscini, people might know, right? Steve Roy. So
I talked to Evelyn.
Blake and I are in pretty close contact. Marty Gunderson.
I talk to Eric Tuser a lot on Facebook.
I see Charlene Marchek sometimes.
I used to talk to Corey Plant a lot.
Actually, I got in touch with Mike Kohler, who's another Canadian living abroad, which was awesome. Had some time talking with Obenauer.
Jake Kavanaugh once in a while.
Colleen Magnuson, Nelson now, and Jacqueline Collier.
Who are you most looking forward to seeing at the reunion?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Cheryl Nixon and Krista Knudsen.
Holly, what's her last? MacIntosh. Sorry, Holly. Kristen Zappacosti, I think is her last name, and Kurt Jones, and of course Dave Pettit.
I would say probably a lot of the out-of-town guys. Like, there's Nash, there's Wes Warren, there's Cal Schurstan, Mike Kohler.
You know, where all the real athletes in Sal were, it was the badminton team. So why is everybody laughing?
Mike Adzik, I don't know where he is. Was friends with him.
Bain and Charlie and Rayanne Peden, we were not a big deal, but we were like the 3-time county mixed doubles champs. Thank you.
It was actually Marty Gunderson.
Todd Lamb, I'd like to see him so he can get me into shape.
Mike Kohler would be another one. He was the first person I ever met after I moved into Sherwood Park when I was just a wee little kid. Jason Obenar would be good.
What's your favorite memory from high school?
I don't know. Some people sat around the pit. We had our own little alcove in the stairwells.
Like, there's things we did that we'd be in prison for right now, I'm sure.
Fond memories of some band trips, some time spending around the pit. That was always a blast. And student council in grade 12 was also a blast.
Probably just hanging out with friends in the pit.
You know, just hanging out with my friends, whether it's just watching movies or...
Dave Pettit being Santa Claus was a good one.
Well, I was actually cheating in accounting, so but I won't go into details. Maybe it was a reunion with other people that were in that class, but I recall winning an accounting award that I shouldn't have.
Blake and I would basically take these elastics that we have, put them on the end of like a ruler, and then from the back row, we'd be like shooting Mrs. Glenn. And so she'd be like writing on a chalkboard, and we'd both be like trying to shoot her head. We'd hit it, and she goes, "I know who's shooting it." I the back of my head.
Well, Marty stole my thunder with Mrs. Glenn, but there's many Mrs. Glenn stories.
School dances, which were cool back then. They're not so cool anymore, but they were cool when we went.
Probably winning provincials in '88 for football.
Favorite memory from high school? Oh, that would be driving around with Sean Brzezicki and Jeff Kufelt in my old 1947 Chev car that I used to have.
I think it was Marty and I and a few other guys. We skipped class, nothing unusual, and we went with our water balloon launcher to Broadmoor Lake. So Hal Souster had his, and are you serious? You're inviting Facey to this reunion? People don't understand the rivalry we have with Facey. But anyways, they had their phys ed class canoeing, and we hid behind the hills and just started launching water balloon after water balloon. And
We went down to California, and Corey Plant put on this stupid accent to impress these guys down there. And they wanted nothing to do with her because they thought my accent was a lot cooler than her fake accent.
The pit, probably.
And we were running laps, and Pettit and Obenauer, all the big guys are out hoofing it, but Goldsey's trailing behind, as you would expect. And Coach McLean said, "Rob, if you don't get going, the whole team's gonna run again." And so Rob let out a, "For F's sakes, I'm trying." And so he didn't cuss. He just used the F in place of the cussing, which was absolutely made it even funnier. And so between Blake, myself, Kirby, Cam, and my wife now, we all still use that vernacular today. It's awesome.
But she loved them. Like, she had them over to her house for lunch once.
Well, we didn't admit that we shot her, but
I cannot lie, I literally loved the day that I walked out of that building. I mean, it was, being honest.
What's been your biggest surprise in life since high school?
Everything goes differently than what you think, and not in a bad way, not in a good way, just things are never really, you can't plan things out.
Probably moving to Turks and Caicos, moving to the Caribbean. Never saw that coming.
How quick time has gone by.
I'm this gray and this bald before 50.
Change of vocation, I think. The fact that I went from being a private investigator to painting models for a living was just not something I expected to.
I guess life really isn't as easy as you kind of thought it would be. And you got challenges every day.
Probably that I went back to university at such a late age and took that leap of faith, which I'm so glad I did. That's probably the biggest surprise.
You know, and now that I'm a grandfather too, it's time is going even faster.
Probably the journey, you know, like I think, you know, when I graduated, you're 18, you know, you look at everything that comes so easy, and it's, you know, life's a lot of hard work and, you know, ups and downs.
Kind of mentioning what other people have mentioned, how fast time goes, and that life is not as easy as I thought it would be growing up. Yeah.
The biggest surprise is how fast time actually goes. It's fast.
Time goes by. I mean, we've been out of high school 10 years longer than we were alive when we graduated. Time goes by.
How hard it is being an adult, right? The responsibility of getting up every day, paying your mortgage, or
Kids, I think, just how tough it is, actually.
Are you coming to the reunion May 15th and 16th?
Yes, I am.
Are you coming to the reunion on May 15th and 16th?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss that.
Now that I was invited to this one, probably.
Are you coming to the reunion on May 15th and 16th?
Yes.
I absolutely am. I would recommend anyone. I went to the two others and they were fantastic. I think it's awesome to catch up with people that you haven't seen in a long time.
Of course.
You betcha. Wouldn't miss it.
I'll definitely be there.
98% yes.
Yeah, I'm sure going to try.
Absolutely, we are.
I am.
Well, of course, absolutely.